Hi folks, good to see ya. It's been a while. Thanks all these years for watching my covers. I promise to get back in the saddle, so to speak, very soon. Hey, maybe do some Aerosmith. But I want to do something different today because I have something special to show you. You definitely want to see this. I have the Epiphone Kirk Hammett Greeny 1959 Les Paul Standard right here in my hands. So let's not waste any of your time. Let's not waste any of my time. And let's get right to it. First things first, I paid $1,499 US for this. I'll give you my thoughts about this later. But we see the Epiphone inspired by Gibson custom logo right on the case there. It's the classic style case that you see with the 1959 Les Pauls and the Joe Bonamassa Les Paul, but really no Kirk Hammett signage of any kind. You know, not like the Slash case or the Joe Bonamassa case with all the Nerdville stuff. And here it is, the Epiphone Kirk Hammett Greeny. We see the Gibson style headstock, very commanding right off the bat. And then the Indian Laurel fretboard, which seems to be the standard fare and even the higher end Epiphones these days. Closer look at the finish here, the aged gloss, which Epiphone calls it, that they have on the Epiphone Les Paul 1959s and the Bonamassa and the I think also the 1961 SG. The signature greeny dual colored knobs with the metal markers, and we see the bridge here. Very different kind of bridge, something you don't see every day from Epiphone. We'll take a look at that a little bit closer. And then of course we have the two greeny buckers, which is really the feature of this guitar, and which features the out of phase middle position. And then we have the washer there that has no writing on it because I guess it's supposed to show that it has worn off. So there it is, the Epiphone Greeny in all its glory. Notice the IGC under the serial number. I think that means inspired by Gibson Custom. I saw that also on the back side of the Kirk Hammett New Flying V. This is the neck, which looks to be one piece, just like the Lazarus. And here's the back side of the Greeny. Really beautiful, actually. Much nicer looking than the ugly red on the back side of my Epiphone Lazarus. I mean, you can really see the wood on the back side of this. It's definitely one of the nicer back sides that I have ever seen on an Epiphone, and I have seen many Epiphones. Here's the binding. Again, very similar to the Lazarus, and the 1959 looks very similar. As you notice, I keep saying the 1959 and the Lazarus because, you know, if you own either of those two guitars, that's what you're going to think. As soon as you pick this up, that's your first thought is, hey, this is just another Epiphone 1959 style guitar. It plays the same, you know, has the same feel, it has the same neck. You know, this is the 1959 neck. I think it's the 50 standard neck. Only difference really is, you know, this headstock. As far as the core body and neck construction goes, you know, compared to the other Les Pauls. So here's the case candy. Very standard Epiphone case candy. I mean, I guess out of the whole package, this is the biggest sad trombone. Wah, wah. Like, where's the certificate of authenticity? You know, at least a picture of Kirk Hammett playing the Greeny. I mean, heck, maybe even Gary Moore or Peter Green playing the Greeny. Nothing, right? This is all you get. Basically the standard stuff. And I don't know if that's because Kirk, you know, didn't want his name plastered all over this, you know, classic legendary guitar. On the new Flying V model, there's a silhouette of Kirk on the back side of the headstock, very similar to the Zakk Wylde models, but, you know, no such thing on the Greeny. I'm no Trogley or the Guitaristas or Phil McKnight or anything like that, but, you know, I can unscrew a guitar and put them back together again. So here are the Greeny buckers. Took them out so you can see them. Here's the Rhythm Greeny, and also you can see the neck tenon going in there into the body. and you also see the lead Greeny. So this has the Greeny style reverse polarity. These are actually newer humbuckers released by Gibson, I believe. And this is the interior factory code label, and it says Kirk Hammett Greeny 1959 Les Paul Standard. And that's really the only place you'll see any mention of Kirk Hammett in this guitar. You're going to have to take the pickups out. Another look at the pickup cavity. I know folks like this kind of stuff, looking at the cap and the veneer and stuff. Right, looks very nice. And over here we have the standard Epiphone stop bar. That's like on every Epiphone. Pretty cool feature though. You know, it locks right on there, so when you're changing strings it doesn't fall out. Hey, watch me scratch up my finish there. Here's the new bridge. And I say new because I have not seen this kind of classic ABR1 style type bridge on an Epiphone before, with this kind of, you know, narrow style posts and the thumb screw. You know, I've never seen anything like this on an Epiphone before. I'm not sure if it's a Gibson measurements, or I'm assuming it's a metrics, you know, bridge, just like any other Epiphone. But very interesting. The interior of the electronics. So here it is, the CTS pot, the Mallory caps, the 50 style wiring, you know, same thing that you see in the other 59s Lazarus. Interior routing could be better. You know, when I first opened this up, a bunch of wood chips flew out, you know. Not something you expect from a $1,500 guitar, but you know, it's Epiphone. What are you gonna do? And up here we have the Switchcraft switch, and I believe also down in the lower jack area, the jack is also the Switchcraft jack right there. I don't have any fancy forceps, calipers, lab coats, scales, anything like that the other guys have, but I do have a multimeter about 8.4 or 8.3 in the bridge, and over here we have about 4.0 in the middle position, and we read about 8.0 in the neck, 8.4 again there in the bridge. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this is mother of pearl inlay, like actually mother of pearl inlay. It's definitely a lot clearer and less foggy looking than the plastic ones on my Bonamassa Lazarus, so I think it's just like the new Bonamassa SG. Here is the Graphtec nut. I find the fretwork to be okay, you know, it's pretty good, nothing sharp or anything like that. Just a hair maybe up here, you know, couldn't reach up there maybe. But overall very good, no high frets, not forcing me to bust out the fret rocker. And here's a truss rod cover removed before I put my strings back on. You know, standard bell-shaped Epiphone truss rod cover with the 3 screw holes. Kind of weird with the Gibson headstock. There's a closer look at the truss rod hole. You know, what a weird juxtaposition. You got this with the Gibson style headstock. I mean, what are you gonna do? So here we have a side-by-side of comparison with my Lazarus. You know, my Lazarus doesn't have the best flame, you know, pattern that some of these other Lazaruses have, but it's a good representation. Different headstock, of course. There's the inspired by Gibson new headstock from 2020 on, I believe, and then this is the Gibson style headstock. Might as well do a side-by-side comparison of my Gibson Les Paul Tribute 2023 model with the Epiphone Greeny headstock. Comparison of the back side of the Greeny and the Lazarus. Right, you can see the wood pattern so much better on the Greeny. Very nice. All right, I want to talk about the Greeny buckers in the middle position here. I'm going directly into a Fender Super Reverb Silverface. No effects, nothing, so you can hear it in its raw form. You're going to see a lot of reviews and a lot of sound demos of this guitar with people demoing the middle position all at 10s, right? They're going to do the standard pickup, Greeny sound. And yeah, it's different. It definitely has that kind of different middle sound. But the point of the middle pickup is that you have access to all four of these now. So even just dialing this down, just a hair, down to the 9, right? You get a... right? And then, you know, all kinds of different configurations. Quacky. So, you know, when you watch those demos, make sure that the guy who's showing it to you, you know, is playing around with these things, showing you the different sounds that the middle pickup can make. So my final thoughts on this $1,500 Epiphone Greeny. Forget the Epiphone name, forget the Gibson name. If you picked it up, you're like, man, this is a very nice guitar, nice fit and finish. I do think Epiphone is going to sell out of these pretty quickly, despite the $1,500 price tag. They know what they're doing. You know, they got the Kirk Hammett / Metallica name and the Greeny name. You know, it's basically like two transformers, you know, combining to make the Uber transformer. You know, and the Gibson style headstock, that's pretty much an automatic for some people. They just see the headstock, you know, automatic purchase, Gibson style headstock. You know, they're going to fly off the shelves. I got to be honest, and I got to say that at the moment, I still prefer my Bonamassa Lazarus. It just feels better in my hands. I like the burst buckers better than the Greeny buckers. I'm just more of a rockin' guy. The Greeny buckers are nice, but, you know, the burst buckers seem to respond to my playing style a bit better. And I just think the Lazarus just has a nicer top. You know, it shows more complexities in the grain. You know, there's like cross grains going on. Every Lazarus that I've seen has a completely different top. You know, each one is unique. Whereas the Greeny is, you know, it looks like a pretty standardized top. I mean, it looks to me, it looks very similar to the Guitar Center exclusive Lemon Burst 1959. I also own the Lemon Drop, which is the vintage brand V100 PGM distressed model, which is their version of the Peter Green. And I gotta say, it's a damn good guitar at half the price. And, you know, the Wilkinson versions of the Peter Green style pickups, you know, with the reverse polarity are excellent. Probably do a demo on that later or some other video. So the Greeny experience can be had for much cheaper. I mean, you could even take any of those 1959 Epiphone Les Pauls and convert them, greenify them, or your Lazarus and greenify them. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, the tops are very similar, and, you know, who's going to know the difference? You got the flip pickups and everything. You get yourself a Greeny. So I wanted to do a little thought exercise. It's actually pretty silly, but I wanted to think about what did Epiphone consider to be the premiums to warrant this $1,500 price tag. For example, we know that the Gibson Greeny buckers retail for $299 in the store. The Epiphone case, this is actually kind of nicer than the regular one that they sell separately, which is $130. So let's say this nicer one, the classic style, is $150. But those are, you know, pretty much the only known factors. Everything else is kind of a guess. Like, for example, the Gibson style headstock. You know, is that a premium of maybe $150? Is Kirk's name worth maybe an extra $200 for the Metallica fan? Or the mystical Greeny factor, the legendary guitar. How much is that? How much is that premium? An extra $200? So we're at $1,000 right now. And then I'll add all these other things like, I don't know, the CTS pots, Mallory caps, and a premium of $20, new bridge style that we looked at, another $30, mother of pearl inlays, I don't know, another extra $50 premium, one-piece neck like the Lazarus, is that another $100? And how much is just the, you know, base body neck and finish that's on all the 1959s? Probably about $300. So is that where $1,500 worth of premiums are considered to be for this Gibsepsiphone? So will I hold on to it? I think I will, you know, but I still got to admit, I was going pale and my hands were going clammy and I was going, oh God, I'm going to spend $1,500 on an Epiphone. Lord help me. But I don't, you know, so far I don't have buyer's remorse. So I'm going to hold on to it for a little, play it a little. So thanks for watching. This is kind of something different than what I usually do. So, and you know, I've kind of have been thinking about changing up my channel a little bit. So maybe I'll be doing something like this a little bit more. And, you know, sorry I didn't do really an intensive sound demo. I just think that, you know, it's kind of redundant because it's going to sound completely different on your rig. But I will I will play this out. So thanks for watching and keep rocking, my friends.